Prem was pushed by his father into an arranged marriage with a curvy woman named Sandia. His strict father believed that this marriage would help stabilize their struggling family, but from the very beginning, Prem was unhappy with the match. On their wedding night, he avoided any closeness by pretending to fall asleep, keeping his distance from his new wife. Later, when he was hanging out with his friends, he even mocked Sandia behind her back and cruelly referred to her as a pig. Prem had never been a strong student. His English was especially poor, and after repeatedly failing his exams, he eventually dropped out of high school. With no other options, he returned home to help his family run their small cassette and video recording shop. Unfortunately, the business was already fading away, as compact discs were slowly replacing cassette tapes. Although Prem tried to act tough in front of others, there was one person he truly feared: his father. The marriage had been completely arranged by his dad. Sandia was the complete opposite of Prem. She was educated, a college graduate who was about to start her career as a schoolteacher. To Prem's parents, their uneducated son being able to marry a woman like her felt like a blessing and a stroke of good fortune. But Prem could not see it that way. All he could focus on was Sandia's appearance. In his eyes, she was overweight, and he felt embarrassed walking beside her in public. Instead of appreciating her kindness and intelligence, he judged her only by how she looked, which made him resent the marriage from the very beginning. On the second day after the wedding, Sandia called her parents to let them know she was safe, following the tradition for newly married daughters. Her mother quickly asked how things were going between the couple. When she learned that nothing had happened on their first night together, she encouraged Sandia to take the initiative and try to please her husband, reminding her that it was part of a wife's duty. Unfortunately for Prem, his father happened to overhear the conversation. He was furious and deeply embarrassed that his son had not even fulfilled his role as a husband. In a moment of anger, he almost grabbed a shoe, ready to scold Prem harshly. But the moment Sandia walked into the room, he quickly calmed himself and pretended nothing had happened. Later, Prem's father told him to take his wife out and buy some household supplies. While they were on the way to the market, Prem suddenly ran into his old classmate Nirmal. Embarrassed to be seen with Sandia because of her appearance, Prem quickly pointed toward a nearby shop and told her to go inside by herself while he stayed outside. Inside the shop, Sandia quietly looked around. As she browsed through the items, she decided to buy a Seki nightgown. She hoped that if she made the first move that night, it might help improve their relationship. Meanwhile, outside the shop, Prem noticed a tall and attractive woman walking down the street. He stared at her for a moment, then glanced back at his own wife. The comparison only made him feel even more dissatisfied with his marriage. And this is how Prem's marriage begins. This is my big fat bride. Sometime later, Prem returned to pick Sandia up. On the way, he ran into his old classmate Nirmal again, who was walking around handing out sweets to celebrate his graduation. Several people greeted Sandia as Prem's wife. Feeling embarrassed about his wife's appearance, Prem quickly pulled Sandia away and rushed her home. Sandia was upset by the way he treated her. Trying to calm herself down, Sandia later went to the library to spend some time alone. That night, on their second night together, she followed the advice her mother had given her. She wore the nightgown she had bought earlier and asked Prem to play an adult film. She then began subtly hinting at him, hoping to bring them closer. In the end, Prem could not resist his own desire. He finally fulfilled his role as a husband. Unbeknownst to them, Prem's mother had secretly been watching outside their room. Seeing what happened, she proudly concluded that her son had finally become a real man. The next day, Sandia's younger sibling came to pick her up so she could stay at her parents' house for a few days. Before leaving, she reminded Prem not to forget to come and pick her up later. Meanwhile, Prem returned to his youth group gathering. While talking with the leader of the group, Prem admitted that he had slept with his wife. However, instead of feeling happy, he felt uncomfortable and guilty, as if he had simply given in to his impulses. At her parents' house, Sandia grew annoyed when Prem did not come to pick her up as promised. Eventually, Prem's father realized his son had forgotten and ordered him to go get her immediately, even though Prem had not finished eating yet. Sandia's parents had already prepared food for him, and Prem tried it briefly. Still feeling irritated, He refused to eat there and left. On their way back home, Prem stopped to buy food and smoke a cigarette. He asked Sandia to keep his smoking a secret from his father. Hearing this made Sandia quietly happy, because at least there was something about her husband that only she knew. Once they arrived home, Sandia again tried to show affection and hint at intimacy, but Prem avoided her with various excuses. In the end, Sandia went to sleep feeling disappointed. Not long after, Sandia got into an argument with Prem's aunt, Naina. The conflict started when Sandia threw away some expired medicine. Naina accused her of being arrogant and showing off her education. She even claimed that if it were not for her help, Prem would never have married a woman as overweight as Sandia. Hurt by the insult, Sandia responded by saying that Prem was not some movie star that she should feel lucky to marry him. A few days later, Prem was invited by Nirmal's family to attend Nirmal's wedding celebration. At the party, Prem felt increasingly uncomfortable and began drinking until he became drunk. At one point, Nirmal proudly showed him a photo of his beautiful bride. Already feeling insecure, Prem took it as a mockery, believing that Nirmal was indirectly making fun of him for having a wife he considered unattractive. Overcome by his emotions, Prem started venting his frustrations. He disgustingly described how it felt to sleep with his wife. His friends tried to stop him from saying such things, but Prem went even further, telling one of them to try sleeping with Sandia just to understand what he meant. Unbeknownst to him, Sandia had been standing behind them and heard everything. Hurt and humiliated, she slapped Prem. In anger, Prem slapped her back. The moment was deeply painful for Sandia. After that incident, Sandia decided to return to her parents' house. When Prem's father found out what had happened, he was furious and immediately struck Prem in anger. At her parents' home, Sandia's father tried to comfort her. He explained that men often say harsh things when they are angry. Meanwhile, her mother told Sandia that she should remain quiet even if her husband behaved badly. She blamed Sandia's education for making her too bold. Sandia knew that divorce was heavily stigmatized in their society, where being a widow was seen as a disgrace. Even so, the humiliation she had endured was too much. In the end, she decided to file for divorce and asked a lawyer friend to help prepare the case. Meanwhile, the situation in Prem's family grew even worse. When his mother received the divorce papers from the court, she was so shocked that she fainted on the spot. Prem had no idea how to handle the chaos around him. Feeling lost, he decided to register for the high school equivalency exam, hoping to at least fix one part of his life. Everything seemed to be falling apart. His family's cassette shop was already struggling, and now the situation became even worse when Nirmal opened a brand new CD store right next to Prem's shop. Prem's family went to confront Nirmal's family and asked them to move the store somewhere else. They explained that having both shops so close together would destroy their business. Prem, already frustrated and emotional, almost lost control and tried to attack Nirmal. Instead of backing down, Nirmal turned the confrontation into a challenge. He proposed a bet. If Prem could win an upcoming wife-carrying competition, Nirmal would hand over his store. But the offer was clearly meant as an insult, since everyone knew Prem's wife was heavier than most. A few days later, both families gathered at court because of Sandia's divorce request. Neither family actually wanted the marriage to end. The court documents explained the real reason behind the marriage. Prem had agreed to marry because his father ordered him to do it for the sake of the family business, while Sandia had accepted the marriage because she genuinely loved Prem. After hearing the case, the court decided not to grant the divorce immediately. Instead, Prem and Sandia were ordered to live together for 6 months. If after that time Sandia still wanted to continue with the divorce, the court would approve it. So, for the time being, the two of them had no choice but to try living together again. One day, Sandia noticed Prem's English notes and tried to correct some of his mistakes. Instead of appreciating the help, Prem became irritated and felt like she was lecturing him. Sandia then asked him to treat her a little better, even if it was only temporary, before they eventually separated. Eventually, Prem took the high school equivalency exam. As expected, he struggled with many of the questions. On the same day, Sandia cooked a meal for Prem's family. They encouraged Prem to taste her cooking and praised it as delicious. But when Prem tried it, he bluntly said that the food tasted strange before walking back to his room. Sandia felt embarrassed and deeply disappointed. She asked Prem whether he could not at least pretend that the food tasted good. Prem coldly replied that he would never do something so foolish. Then he took Sandia to the dining area, where the rest of his family was eating a completely different meal. Prem accused them of pretending to enjoy her cooking, just to take advantage of her kindness. Ashamed of his family's behavior and overwhelmed by everything happening in his life, Prem tried to do something drastic. Not long afterward, a school supervisor arrived at the house accompanied by the police. It turned out that on his exam paper, Prem had written that he might do something unthinkable because he kept failing his English tests. Seeing all of this, Sandia quietly withdrew and broke down in tears. Prem, who was also feeling miserable, noticed her sitting alone. For the first time, he felt sympathy for her. He began to wonder if Sandia truly loved him. Sandia explained that all this time, Prem had never given her the chance to express her feelings or understand what she truly felt. Prem then said that after their divorce, he would try to find someone who could love and care for Sandia the way she deserved. But Sandia gently explained that this was exactly what she had always wanted to do for him. She even said that one day she would help Prem find a beautiful woman, someone who would never make him feel embarrassed in public. Hearing this, Prem's heart finally softened. For the first time, he truly began to realize how kind and sincere Sandia had been all along. The next day, Sandia said goodbye to Prem's family as she prepared to attend a job interview for a teaching position. Prem offered to take her there himself, and before she went in, he wished her good luck. During the interview, Sandia suddenly realized that she had forgotten some important documents and had no idea where they were. Just when she began to panic, Prem arrived with the missing papers she had left behind. Thanks to that, the interview went smoothly. Sandia was eventually accepted for the job, but there was one catch. The position required her to work in another city. By this point, Prem had slowly begun to develop feelings for Sandia. So, when she told him that she would soon be leaving to work as a teacher far away, Prem started to feel something he had never felt before. He was afraid of losing her. Around the same time, Prem's aunt Nina received sad news from her husband's family. The man who had left her 15 years earlier had finally passed away. After hearing this, Nina went to visit Prem and Sandia. She encouraged them to give their marriage another chance and to participate in the wife-carrying competition that Nirmal had challenged them to. For Nina, the competition was not about the prize. It was about the values that a husband and wife should fight for together. She explained that Prem and Sandia should not end up like her. She had never taken that chance with her own husband, and now she had lived as a widow for 15 years. Hearing her story made Prem and Sandia reconsider their situation. In the end, they agreed to join the wife-carrying competition. Prem tried to act confident, boasting that he was strong and saying that all the youth activities he had been involved in had prepared him for this moment. Soon, the day of the competition finally arrived. At the beginning of the race, Prem struggled to carry Sandia. They quickly fell behind and ended up in last place, while Nirmal and his partner were leading the race. The course was not easy. The participants had to pass through several obstacles, including tires, stairs, balance challenges, and even thick mud. As Prem struggled through the obstacles, Sandia quietly leaned close and told him something from the heart. She confessed that she wanted to stay with him, and that she would not go to another city for the teaching job. Hearing this gave Prem a sudden burst of determination. With renewed energy, he pushed forward and somehow managed to overtake the others, eventually winning the competition. After crossing the finish line, Prem was overwhelmed with happiness. He continued carrying Sandia all the way back to their house. In that moment, Prem finally understood something he had been blind to all along. He truly loved Sandia for who she was, and the thought of losing her now terrified him. The two of them embraced and shared a warm, heartfelt kiss. And with that, the story comes to an end. So the moral of the story is never insult your wife in public, because one day you might have to carry her through mud, tires, and stairs just to win back your own life.